In my family, a lot of the Italian stuff is bastardized, or it's not the proper terminology. What would you call your godmother and godfather?
So we would call them. There's a name. Is it Kumbhara? Yeah.
That's
I was just trying to figure out.
But you see, but when you think of like anybody who watches like The Sopranos thinks that's a side piece.
Sidekick. Yeah.
Right. But so we would call
it's Kumara. It's your sponsor.
Kuma and Kumba.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be
Kumbhara Carlo.
Kumbhara Carlo. This is the Gray Hair and Daycare podcast, with a combined age of 111 years and a combined IQ right in that same range. Your hosts, Frank Cirio and Carlo Russo. Welcome back. So as always, I am Frank Cirio. I am 55 years old, and my daughter is 13 days old.
Yes. Your daughter.
How
baby Josie.
Baby Josie arrived.
What a gorgeous baby.
This has been I've been struggling, honestly, thinking about, because all I've been thinking about is this.
Of course. You have a beautiful baby, a beautiful wife.
I'm like, I'm not going to put this kid down so I can write my script. No. I've been struggling to think of, what am I going to say?
Right.
What do I say about this experience? Because everybody says the same thing when they talk about it. It's like, it's life-changing. It's indescribable.
Yep.
There's no way to put it in words. And I'm thinking all along, there's going to be something that I can sink my teeth into, that I can say, this is what this experience means to me.
Right.
And what it is it's indescribable. And life-changing. Yeah. There is no way. There's no way to explain how this little person sums up everything.
Yeah.
Everything that's important in one little 6-pound package.
It's amazing. Like you said, this little human becomes the number one thing in your existence.
Yeah.
Keeping this child safe, alive, warm, happy, just overnight, or whenever you have that child, it becomes the number one thing. It should become the number one thing on your mind at all the time. The baby doesn't know your name, doesn't know how to speak, doesn't know. Eyes are closed for the first, and still you're just looking at it going, this is everything important to me is right here. My wife, my child, and our health. Yep. Now, and of course, it all gets tied in with a beautiful bow of our faith. So
without a doubt. Yeah. Through the whole experience, because everything is great. Literally early, just a few hours ago, we were at the pediatrician. And, all babies lose a little weight after they're born.
Sure. So
baby Josie was 6 pounds, 1 ounce, born on March 5th, right? March 5th at 7:08 a.m., 6 pounds, 1 ounce. And then her lowest was for about 5 pounds, 5 ounces, like a week ago. And then a few days later, she was up to 5 pounds, 8.5 ounces. Today, she was 6 pounds, 3.5 ounces.
So over her
So she's back over her birth weight. She's all the feeding, the breastfeeding, all that stuff has gone very, very well. It's had some challenges, but so that's all good. Everything's been good, but it's just, it all happened so quickly. But the faith piece, just realizing how fragile life is in general, let alone this little brand new life. And also trusting, we've talked about through the podcast, my struggles with being afraid of stuff. It is only through faith that stuff fades away. And you are then allowed to experience just this incredible, indescribable joy.
Yep.
Of this little person.
Yep.
So I want to catch you guys up. We have on kind of everything that happened and how the birth went and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of starts with that Monday. So 2 weeks ago, yesterday, we went in at about 5:00. We went up to St. Joe's.
Yep.
And well, you know, before I get into like the details of it, there's a few things. The first thing is, I feel like this is like the best analogy I can give is the baby is like being handed an Oscar, right? So this is my acceptance speech, right?
You have won the baby.
This is my acceptance, because there are many people that I need to thank, right?
Yes.
Because without them, this would not be possible, right?
Our producer.
Yes. Our producer and my lovely wife, Kelly.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I will gladly spend the rest of my life repaying what she did, what she went through, how strong she was. I can't tell you how unbelievably proud I am of how she faced everything step by step. Even when things went wrong for her, she was absolutely amazing. It was incredible. After the baby was born, there's a picture that I took of her where she never looked as she had never looked as beautiful, holding our baby. I have tremendous respect for any woman who has gone through that experience and given of themselves in that way, that they were able to successfully create another human being. But my wife I've always thought she was brilliant and wonderful, and I love her. But she completely blew me away with her strength and her courage and her willingness to just give everything she could. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
They are so much stronger than us.
Oh my God!
I mean,
without
hearing you,
without
it's just
question.
And I've known this because of things of my family have gone through. My wife, they are so much stronger than us. We do not compare.
No.
Of the greatness of women. I'm so glad.
There's no man on earth
that I know
that has, and almost the vast majority of women do this, and I'm sure they all handle it differently but without a doubt, there is no man on earth that endures what they go through, the changes to their body over such a long period of time, and then in just an incredibly short, intense period of time, going through childbirth. It is absolutely amazing. I know I couldn't do it.
Bro,
I know I couldn't.
We have a pimple, and we think it took over our whole face. They're cooking up a human, a baby, and the strength, and then the medical problem. We don't have the medical problem.
No.
When they get pregnant, if you're healthy, you stay healthy. If you're not healthy, they go through changes. Like that.
Yep.
And some of them are life-threatening for women out there that have been through that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing when you can finally look at your wife in that different... You've always, like we always said, we always felt...
Oh, yeah, but no, it changes absolutely.
When you see that, it just puts them in such a different realm that I know that I'm not.
This isn't... this isn't just a regular human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like... I'm sorry. As fathers, I'm very proud to be a dad, and I think I'm very good. Nothing like the mother. I'm serious.
No,
nothing. I mean,
we have a long way to go as fathers to contribute at that level, and that's why we get the rest of our lives to do all that stuff, right? Like that's
exactly.
But no, it was incredible. So
I'll let you continue. I'm sorry.
No. First and foremost, my wife was just amazing. I couldn't be more proud of her. And there were doctors and nurses that all deserve a specific shout out. So the first doctor, Patrice Palucci, she handled kind of the induction process when we get in on Monday night. Then it transitioned to Dr. Kathleen Rogers, who kind of took care of us through labor and the delivery. She was there during the delivery. Just did an incredible job. And I hope I get pronounce the last name right. It's Dr. Sarah Scotch. She handled some of the difficulties that we'll talk about when I kind of go through everything that happened after childbirth and got Kelly taken care of.
Yep.
There was a nurse, Kenzie, who helped us through pushing and through childbirth. And then before and afterwards, another nurse, Courtney Burke. These people, first of all, they're the most beautiful women other than my wife that I've ever seen. I will never forget them, especially.
They're a big part of your life.
They're fit. It's like, you talk about those moments in your past that you can picture it like it was yesterday. I can picture every single one of their faces at different points. We were back at the hospital at one point, and I heard Courtney's voice, and I said, "That's Courtney." She wasn't even in the room with us. I'm like, "That's Courtney," and she came around the corner, and it was her. They were incredible. The level, first of all, when you're in that position where there's nothing you can do, right, other than be emotional support and
sometimes stay out of the way.
Yeah, and just stay out of the way. These people, just an incredible level, first of all, of skill and talent. The education that they have, what they're able to do for people is miraculous, but also just the level of caring and compassion. They're wonderful people. So Dr. Palucci, Dr. Rogers, Dr. Scotch, and then the nurses, Kenzie and Courtney Burke. They were absolutely incredible. All at St. Joe's and Associates for Women's Medicine. They were fantastic. Yeah. And
there's a special place for them.
Oh.
People that take care of other people. And they do it with such grace. And it's just special people. Not everybody can do that.
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It was a huge, I've joked around in the past that kind of my baseline is that I don't think anybody knows what they're doing. And those people, I never once had anything, never once saw anything that made me go, I need to be on alert.
You were never in any doubt.
I could trust them. I could focus on Kelly, and they did everything that they could and should have, and the outcome speaks for itself.
I'm telling you, I mean, you can talk a lot about Syracuse, but one of the things we have here in Syracuse is our medical, our hospitals and our people that work there are top notch. Yeah. We're a teaching city. Yeah. So you're in good hands in Syracuse with the medical field. Yeah.
No, they were fantastic. So diving right into the whole thing. So Monday, 5:00, we show up. They get us all checked in. They bring us right in. We were in the room that they took us on the tour.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, we've seen this room before, and we got set up. And they basically started with cervical softening. So they were like they weren't pills. She would let them dissolve.
Okay.
And they gave doses of that stuff. They were every 4 hours. So one dose at 6, one dose at 10, one dose at 2 a.m. That was all with Dr. Palucci. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, they do an exam and they see how things are going. And she wasn't progressing. Mm-hmm. So now we're into Tuesday morning.
Because you guys got in there at 5?
5:00. So we got there, we had a little bite to eat.
Yeah.
And, there was a little like a fold out for me, but I think Kelly slept a little. I didn't sleep much at all. Yeah. The excitement of things getting going and being there and knowing it was going to happen. So by the morning, then they said they wanted to do this balloon. So the balloon helps them to dilate.
Sure.
So they put this balloon in and they inflate it, and that stays in for, I think it was in there for 3.5 hours.
Okay.
That took her to almost 5 centimeters, right? So kind of halfway there. Worked. And then they allowed her to do we went to the jacuzzi tub.
Yes.
So there was no hosing.
Yeah.
But she really liked the jacuzzi tub. I thought we were going to be in there for a little while. We were in there for 3.5, 4 hours. She just stayed in the tub.
Really?
Yep. Just kept heating it up. Yeah. Heating it up, and it really worked. And then by the time we went back, it was basically, that's when she was starting to really feel the contractions. Okay. I think the warm water and being comfortable in the bath
moved everything along.
It moved everything along, and she was very comfortable. So at this point, she's been going at it for a while and had no painkillers, no nothing. Then we get back to the room. Now she's really starting to feel it. So we're doing she's on the yoga ball, trying to, breathing through as she's starting to really feel the contractions. And they had her on these wireless sensors for the contractions, so you could see
to trace it.
Could trace the contraction, and they can trace the baby's heart rate, and they're looking to make sure that as things are happening, the baby's okay.
Sure.
But that was basically by about 8 o'clock, 8:30. I was starting to encourage her because it was started. By now, she's exhausted. Right, the pain is starting to get to her, and they're like, you could do nitrous oxide, IV pain meds, or right to the epidural. And basically they made it sound like the nitrous oxide half the time doesn't even work, right? So we did the IV pain meds. That got her sleepy.
Okay.
And it made her certainly be able to tolerate the pain much better.
Okay.
So from then through maybe about 1 a.m., she's mostly dozing off. Like she's waking up a little bit at the peak of a contraction, but she's mostly kind of in that quasi half asleep, half awake.
So now you're going into Wednesday?
This is going Tuesday night into Wednesday morning.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you got there Monday at 5, right?
Got there Monday at 5 in the evening.
Okay.
So for me, I think I probably got from 6 a.m. on Monday till 5 a.m. say on Wednesday. I got about 3 hours of sleep, right? So I'm
you're
bleary eyed, but I'm okay. She had been getting some rest off and on,
right?
So it was a little bit different. But by about midnight, 1 a.m., she's ready for the epidural, right? Like it's
it to me.
Even with the others, and I'm like absolutely fine. And honestly, that was the first thing for me that it was scary, right? Because they take it very seriously.
Yeah.
It's a manual thing. She's got to be very still.
It's got to be very still, direct.
So that was a little, the other thing that happened.
That is scary.
That was my lovely wife does not have good veins.
Yeah.
For when they wanted to put a port in so they could do IVs whenever they wanted. It took 3 tries. It took first the nurse that we were working with, then the nurse that had the most experience, then the IV team. Over the time that she was there to put in 2 IVs, it took them 6 tries.
God, yeah.
They kept having problems.
That's all black and blue marks.
She was getting, she had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And after a while, that's just because they don't want to put it, they wanted her to be able to move around, so they don't want to do it in her arm.
Yeah.
So that was challenging throughout. But anyway, so now it's Wednesday morning. She had the epidural. And one of the things I was concerned about, and you read about the stuff, one of the challenges with the epidural is then there are people that say, well, then you're not going to be able to feel the contraction. She felt it. She could still feel it, right? Because she would feel the pressure. She wasn't having.
Because they were worried if you don't feel it, you're not pushing. Then
you're not going to push at the right time. That was not an issue for her.
Gotcha.
So about maybe 5 a.m., Kenzie, the nurse, comes in and says, we're going to try some practice pushes, right? To figure out. So we get her set up, and she's doing it, and she's watching. She's watching. And when she gets it right, she's like, that's the way. Gotcha. Whatever that felt like, she was kind of coaching her through it. We did that for a little bit. And then starting at like 6 a.m., it was, okay, let's go. And it really was, they kind of started with, okay, we're going to do some on this side. So they got her on her one side.
Okay.
And did several pushes on one side.
Okay.
And that was, so they wanted me basically to help her. I was left arm under her knee, right arm on her other shoulder. And she still has bruises from that. Because so we would do that. She'd do through, I think 4 or 5 contractions that way, then exact opposite on the other side. And then, okay.
So she'd be on one side and you'd be doing that.
So she would be kind of on her. So she'd be on her left. I would be on her, she would be on her left. I would be on her left, and I would be squeezing her. And when she hit the top, I could watch the monitor and kind of, okay, here it comes. Huh. As it got close to the top,
because what I remember with ours, for some reason I remember my mom and me both doing it at the same time.
One each
I don't
leg.
remember her. Yeah, I don't remember her being on the sides.
Well, so what they did was there was 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, and then we were ready to go. And then she's centered, and then it was that's it. Then up
that's
in the
the
stirrups.
only thing I remember is the ready to go.
Just that.
Because Trina was ready to go. We had no time. There was no side to side.
No. So it was 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, and then go.
I'm ready. Okay.
And it was funny because a couple times my wife, even though she's in all this pain and she's going through all this stuff and she's kind of a little dopey, she's telling the the doctor, he's going to be up here, like. And it's
talking about what we were talking about,
and I'm like, and honestly, it was funny because we talked so much about my apprehension about this, and I'm not minimizing it. Like, still, even now, even since the birth, somebody will say something, and I'll get my weird weak need feeling. Yeah. But in that moment, I was like, it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter.
I'm in.
Yeah, like whatever's going to happen.
I was the same way.
I wasn't down there like, hey, let me take a look.
You're not gonna,
but at the same time, I wasn't concerned. I was concerned about what can I do to help her, right? But she's throwing that out there, and I'm looking at the doctor like, I'm fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Like, we're good. Yeah. So
she's thinking of you.
We go through, and 4 on one side, 4 on the other. And then, okay, now it's time. Push. And it was just like all of a sudden, bam.
God.
There's the baby.
I know.
And I look, and there she is. And before I even know what's I'm looking at her. She's happy. I look at the baby. And before I even know what's happening, she's like, here you go. And she hands me the thing.
Oh,
to cut the, and I'm like, oh, boom, boom.
We talked about this too. Yeah.
You
thought you weren't going to, but
no,
at that moment,
I was fine. I was like, okay,
let's do it.
That was it. It was fine. And then there the baby lands on her chest.
They put it right. Yeah.
And I just want to see, right? Like, I just want to look at her.
Yeah.
So I squat down next to the bed. So I'm eye level with with my daughter and my wife. Yep. And the doctor's still doing stuff.
Yeah.
Until I see out of the corner of my eye, the doctor's head appears around her foot and goes, "Are you okay?" she's thinking I'm squatting down because I'm going to pass out.
You need some air. You're going to go down.
And I'm like, I am great. And I stood back up and looked, but
that's funny.
Immediately they get her going. She trying to get her to latch. She latches. Everything went great. They put a little hat on her to clean her up a little bit.
Did you have a moment of the first crying? Were you waiting for the cry of the baby? So
it happened very quickly. It happened very quickly.
So you didn't have to even think about it.
Yeah, and
because I think one of mine were like, "Come on, let's get to crying."
Yeah, no, I didn't have that.
So you knew. Oh man,
it was like boom, boom, boom. There's the baby. There's the sound. I'm like, okay,
so that's cool.
Yes.
So now she's on Kelly.
She's on Kelly. They get her cleaned up a little bit.
Yep.
All they did was they did a weight and a measure. So 6 pounds, 1 ounce. And 19 and a half inches long. So she's 10th percentile for weight and 52nd percentile for height. So she's
makes sense.
Tall and skinny.
Tall and skinny makes sense.
Very long, but she looked great for just all pink and perfect and wonderful. And the feeding started great. Kelly looked absolutely just radiant. Let's just you imagine a woman with just absolutely glowing, looked fantastic. So they're just doing all their stuff, and there it is. And it's just this incredible, indescribable gratitude and wonder at this tiny little. And it's funny because for me, I know she's little, right? 10th percentile but for some reason she was bigger. It seemed bigger to me.
I thought so too with Nick, with Natalie. And I was like, why is everybody saying he's tiny?
Yeah, she's not that.
It looks like this big baby.
Yeah.
And I did have that feeling.
Yeah. I'm like, she's not that small. She's it's all there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was something. It was just, I'll never forget it. It was a wonderful, wonderful moment. And the doctors and the nurses, everybody, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
So, after a couple hours, so we're in the labor and delivery room that we've been in since Monday night.
Sure.
Now it's Wednesday morning. It's like 10 a.m. or maybe not. It might be like 9:30 by now. We'd been in there a couple hours after the baby's born. They're ready to move us. So now the pain meds, the epidural is out. The pain meds are kind of wearing off.
Sure.
And they say, okay, let's see if we can get you.
The next step.
The nurses want to take Kelly in. So we have our own bathroom in this room. Take her in and see if she can, if she can pee. Through the process, they hadn't put her on a catheter, but they were helping to evacuate her bladder. Basically, she wasn't able to go. Right.
To empty it.
So they bring her in, and I've got the baby, and I hear, oh, okay, and then all of a sudden, 3-4 more nurses come in.
Into the bathroom?
Into the bathroom, and she's coming back out, and she fainted.
Ooh.
So she passed out for just a couple seconds. But they got her back now. So now they've been cleaning up, and I've been watching, and they were weighing the pads.
Sure.
That were coming off of the bed, in an effort to estimate blood loss. Well, they started to become concerned. And they start checking things. And throughout the process, before they got her up, they were like pressing her tummy to get everything out. And it seemed like everything was going fine. And again, in the bed, glowing, beautiful color. She seemed to feel fine, all that stuff. Now she looks a lot more gray.
Sure.
They put her back. They put her back down, and she's in bed. And now this was by far the hardest part of the whole process, because now pain meds are all worn off. The epidural's out.
Yeah.
And
she's got nothing helping her.
It's been 2 hours of things are starting to close back up.
Okay.
And now, it was very difficult because of just her anatomy for them to do examinations, right? Now things are tightening back up. Now they've got to do these examinations, and it is
her body's getting back to
her and
her body. Yeah.
Yes. And there's no help.
Yeah.
There's no help there. And she is exhausted. God. And she feels weak. And it was just, she had to do what she had to do. Right. She was very brave throughout it. But I could see, this is the first time that I could see she was at the end of her rope.
Sure.
Right. And it was just, and there was nothing I could do other than have my forehead against her and try to console her and help her through the pain. And that was just, you're completely helpless. You're completely helpless to help. You can't do anything. All you can do is be there with her through it. And thank goodness through all of this, the baby is fine. The baby, God. Everything's good. The baby is just hanging out, and we're going through this. Mm-hmm. So essentially, what they said was that after the examination that was really, really difficult, they said basically the upper part of her uterus was not contracting the way it should. So they basically were like they wanted to put her. Give her Pitocin to get things to clamp down. And then there is a thing, it's called a Jada. The Jada is another balloon thing that they put in that applies suction and pressure to help to help things close up and stop the bleeding. Jesus. And this is another thing that's got to be put in.
Yeah, this is not a comfort.
So it was first it was the examination that was excruciating for her, then this process. And then they're starting to say, well, we have different, they could give you this for pain or that for pain. They ended up giving her, I think they gave her fentanyl. Oof. For the and then you hear that word and you're like terrified, right?
If you're going to get fentanyl, it's probably best when you're in the hospital by professionals,
administered by professionals.
The perfect amount.
But so that was it, and they immediately start pushing a bunch of fluids to help her with that. Also, at that point, she's showing a little bit of a fever.
Okay.
So they put her on IV antibiotics. Sure. So they've got an IV for the antibiotics. There's all these things beeping and pumping. They're pushing fluids for her, and they give her the pain meds, and now the balloon is in, and now it's just wait. They do her blood work, and it was challenging because by the end of the day, so now this is all happening in the morning, maybe 9 o'clock.
This is Wednesday morning.
Wednesday, 9:30. So all day long we're there instead of going to the mother and baby room until about 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
By that time, they've done her blood labs a couple times, and they're kind of saying, well, if you want a transfusion, we can give you one, because she had lost enough blood. A lot. Yeah, it was, the numbers weren't great. And at that point she had, but it was like, well, think about it. You don't have to do it now. They could do it the next day.
Sure.
And she just, I think, was ready. We wanted to get into the other room. So it was about 10:30 at night, finally, on Wednesday. We got moved into the mom and baby room. So now it's like, okay, for me, 3 hours of sleep from 6 a.m. on Monday until 10:30 at night on Wednesday. We got settled, got everything good. The baby's good. Kelly's good. We get settled in. We have this great nurse there in the mom and baby unit that got us all set up, brought us some snacks, like all that stuff. It was nice. And there's a bed there. I pull out the bed and I'm out.
Took you a second.
So I just fell asleep. That was it. Yeah. I had a pretty good night's sleep. The baby through the night is like cluster feeding already. Like she's wants to be fed.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Like almost continuously, right? Yeah. Like just like one after the other, like 30 minutes in between.
Wow.
So Kelly's not getting a lot of rest.
No.
Obviously she's trying to get.
And at this point she's fine with the situation.
With
the bleeding and the
balloon. The balloon, the Jada did its job.
Okay.
Again, the numbers are improving, so that's all good. She doesn't seem to. She isn't visibly, losing any more blood than she should be.
So you're on the upswing.
So yes. Okay. So that stuff has all resolved before they allowed us to come here.
Okay.
The transfusion is still on the table.
On the table for the morning if they need it.
Right. But yeah, she's stable. Okay. She's headed in the right direction. Baby again, still doing great. So morning comes, she's exhausted, obviously, and they start coming in to do the test. So they come in, we're going to do the pediatric exam. So they check out the baby and they're looking at, and everything's good. Muscle tone's good. All her reflexes are intact, all that stuff. So that's all good. Then they come in and they want to do the hearing test. Yep. So they do that. They do that stuff. Everything's all good. And it's about now maybe 8:30 in the morning on Thursday.
Yep.
So, and I'm thinking, okay, like I'm starting to feel now like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. Like Kelly's okay. The baby's great. We're headed in the right direction. I've had a little bit of sleep, so I'm not that far gone.
Right.
My phone rings and I'm like, okay. Well, cause now all this time I had told my family, look, we're going to sign off at 5 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah.
And we will
do our thing.
We're not going to contact you until the mom and baby room.
Sure.
But we didn't think it was going to be 4 days.
Sure.
Right. So I had communicated a little bit with my sisters throughout the process. Yes. So it's 8:30 in the morning. My phone rings. I look. It's my cleaning lady.
Oh, I
and Thursday, she comes once a month on Thursdays. Her name's Bridget. Awesome. We love her. I answer the phone. She's like, hi. How are things going? I tell her, and she's like, well, I hate to tell you this now, but I went downstairs in the basement and the basement's flooded. And I'm like, whoa, so like, where? Everywhere.
The basement.
How deep? She's like, well, it's about the depth of my nail. So I'm thinking, a half inch or and I'm like, okay. And she's like, is there anything that you want me to do? And I'm just like, I'm in a cloud. I'm like, go into the utility room. Can you hear, is the sump pump running? She's like, I don't think, it doesn't sound like it. And there's more water in here. I'm like, okay. So now while we were in the hospital, we've talked in previous episodes about all this snow that we got. It warmed up. Yep. A lot of snow melted. And then we got rain for like 2 or 3 days while we were in the hospital. Through all this stuff that we just talked about.
It was not good here.
Tons of rain, right? And where we are, we get, the property gets wet. So she's telling me this. I'm like, okay. So we'll work the problem. Right? So I'm like, let me find a plumber. I start calling people. I find somebody miraculously. So it's now like, it's going on 9:00 in the morning, and I'm giving everybody the sob story. Like, I'm at St. Joe's. My wife just gave birth. She's had complications, and my basement's full. I need some. And I find somebody. They say I can get somebody there at 10 a.m. I'm like, fantastic.
Better than that.
Thank you. Then I'm like, okay, I got to call like ServPro or one of those places because I got to get somebody to get the water out. So I start calling every single place. I go down the list in Google, every single place. We're 2 weeks out. We're 3 weeks out because this flooding, there's been ice damming because of all the snow. They're booked everywhere because so many people need help.
Absolutely.
So there's no chance of that. So I call one of my cousin's son, who also happens to work for me. I thought he was going to be in Buffalo that day for work. He happened to be here in town. I'm like, can you do me a favor and go over? He came over and helped the plumber. I told him where my shop vac was. He sopped up a bunch of the water. While he's doing that,
thank God,
I go online. Oh, without it, we'd be completely. It would have been a mess. I go online. I order 3 big dehumidifiers for him to pick up and get them set up. We had one, but I ordered that stuff. Had all that. And I thought, okay. And then again, I feel better. But now I feel like I'm missing something because doctors are coming in and out. Right. I keep having to leave the room. Right. I'm on the phone talking to people. You're
taking care of other things. Yeah.
And I want to know what's going on with the baby. So, but I feel a little better. So now 10 o'clock comes, 10:30. Things are looking good with the baby. Kelly's still, she's exhausted. She's lost a lot of blood. We're talking about, I'm encouraging her. I'm like, look, what's the downside to taking the transfusion? And if it's going to help you to be able to recover in all the other ways you're going to need to. But she, because of her experience with the IVs, she's reluctant to do that. So, we're kind of having that discussion. And then I get another phone call, and it's the plumber. And the plumber says, look, I got the new sump pump in. I got the old sump pump out. I got the new sump pump in. And I hooked it up, and it's not pumping. And he's basically telling me that the outflow pipe, something's wrong.
Something's not allowing it.
It's not pushing the water out. And I can hear in the guy's voice,
like he's giving up.
He's got 5 other guys. He's telling me, I got 5 other calls I got to get to. And I can hear in his voice, he's ready to be like, I'm out, dude. God. And
it's the last thing you want to hear.
I'm like, look, if there's anything you can do, he's like, well, look, I'm going to try this, and I'll call you back. He lets me talk to Frank, and I'm like, look, just try to convince him to whatever. Even if he has to run a temporary pipe, whatever.
Get something going.
And I hung up. I hung up, and it was a combination of, I think, the exhaustion, everything that had happened, feeling so helpless with what Kelly went through. Yep. And my head went to some really dark. I broke down. My head went to some really dark places. I broke down crying. And
I mean, when you say dark places, just
feeling like, why is this happening? Why? There's nothing I can do. I can't win. Why does this have to happen now? Like, I can't take care of him. I can't do anything to help my wife. I can't really do anything for my baby because all she wants is my wife. I can't do any. My house.
I can't even go home. I can't fix this.
I can't. Like, there's nothing. I'm just feeling helpless. And in that moment, it stopped. It was like a switch, and I literally felt like this is nothing but the devil in your head. If you're going to have problems with your wife and your barely day-old baby in the hospital, and the big problem is there's a flood in your basement, that's the problem you want. Exactly. And all that crap turned off.
Snapped you into.
And my phone rang, and it was Frank. And I answered the phone, and he's like, we opened up the basement window. He's plumbing a temporary pipe. It's pumping, and the water level's already going down.
God is good.
And God is good, all right. And I thought, okay. And from then on, this, like, all that crap was not, I just like, whatever.
Well, it was.
I'll fix it.
It was God saying, listen,
Yeah.
we're gonna set you right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna set your brain
what is
priorities
important,
and,
everything. And I think it was at that point, I think it was around that time I was texting you.
Yep.
And I think I said to you,
I have everything I need.
I had everything I've ever wanted is in the room with me right
Yep.
now.
Everything else is secondary.
I could care less.
Yep. Exactly what you said.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah. And that's amen to that, because at that point, let your whatever. Yeah.
No, like,
we'll figure it out. Figure it out.
Yeah, that's right.
Broken window, figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, my car doesn't work, figure it out.
Yeah, that was it. So from then on, it was just Kelly really didn't want to do the transfusion.
Okay.
So then it was just more blood tests to make sure that she was trending in the right direction.
Making blood.
Yeah, she was doing all that stuff.
Yep.
The lactation consultants come in. She was doing really well, but that's a whole process for a new mother nursing.
And that can be frustrating too. That's a lot of frustration.
Honestly, I think this has gone really well.
Good.
Now, the lactation consultants, there were 2 lactation consultants at St. Joe's. There's one at the pediatrician that we just saw today for the second time. They have been incredibly helpful. So we went basically. The rest of the day, Thursday, was just kind of recovery. And
getting to know your baby.
Getting to know the baby a little bit and experiencing that. And then Friday morning, I think we were ready to go home. And it was Friday morning. Now the rain had stopped. Now it was back to like blustery winter. We're on the 5th floor. We're looking out at the Syracuse skyline. And it's just a blizzard. And the nurses are coming in and they're like, oh, when is this going to stop? And I looked at the nurse. I said, the sun's going to come out the minute you let us out of here. I promise. And she chuckled. And by about 12:30, 1 o'clock, they come back in. The pediatrician did another evaluation of the baby. Everything's good. Kelly's numbers are good enough. And they're like, okay, you're ready to go home. And went down. It was still cold, but by the time I got the car, pulled it around, got everything loaded in, and they brought Kelly down, sun came out.
See?
It was perfect. And
so you didn't have to go home on that treacherous drive with the snow and the 10 miles an hour.
There was some traffic on 81 from construction, but it was a nice, easy drive home, and we got here. And first thing we find is a basket from Natali.
Oh, my son.
Yes. So Carlo's son and his girlfriend had watched the house and the dogs for us while we were in the hospital. They left us this cute little basket with like energy drinks and snacks and some Knuckers and some other stuff.
How cute.
It was just very, very touching. Came in, and I was worried too because I wanted to. Again, I read all these books about how to introduce the dogs, all this stuff. So we get here, and I didn't get a chance to come here and let them smell something. Right. But we had her little cap. That was the first thing she ever wore. Yep. So she stayed with Kelly in the car, and I came in, greeted the dogs, gave them some love, let them smell it, told them to sit, gave them treats. Smell it, sit, treats. Smell, sit, treats. And they're like, okay, whatever this thing is, we get treats when we sit.
Whatever this game is.
Yep. Then bring the baby in and
wearing the cap.
No, bring the baby in because now the baby smells like the cap.
Forgot dogs can smell it.
Oh yeah. So and they were absolutely great the whole time. Like Watson, the big one, Kelly sits down. She's got the baby. He sits, looks at me. Good dog. Looks at the baby. Looks at me. Good dog.
That's fine.
Give him a treat.
And this doesn't look like a puppy.
This is not a puppy.
Doesn't look like one of us. No. It looks like one of yous.
But yeah, they were great. And in the beginning, actually, Rumpel was a little more standoffish. Yeah. Watson was much more interested, but respectful, and just became over the next few hours. We'd have the baby in the crib, and all of a sudden you hear a sound. We'd be at the kitchen table. Watson would go in the bedroom, look, come back out, look at us, go back in, look, like just absolutely like keeping an eye on her. And I keep talking to him like, You're my partner. You're going to protect her.
Aw.
And he gets it.
They kept this up.
Oh yeah, they've been perfect. They've been great.
That's awesome.
The closest, every once in a while, it's funny because there's a thing, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called cobbing.
Cobbing.
Dogs will do this thing called cobbing.
Okay.
And it's like, imagine if they love you, they'll come up and they will just nibble.
Oh, cats do that too.
Right?
Yeah, people think they're biting them.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Within a day, that's the one thing, he had come up and he would cob her foot.
Oh my God.
She's like, and I'm like, oh, that's right.
How
That's
cute.
right. That's so. No, they've been fantastic with that. So Friday was just the relief of being home, seeing the sun, getting her settled, and then trying to get Kelly some rest.
Right.
She's exhausted.
Yeah.
And kind of, trying to get the baby to settle down. But generally, I think she's been really good. Even in the very beginning, once I figured out the temperature thing that she needed, I think in the beginning, we were not bundling her up.
They need to be just.
They really do. At one point, I'm like,
Heat.
what's going on? I thought I was holding her. And as soon as I felt her warmth, she was out like a light.
Yes.
And something in my head, like, yeah, she has been in a 98-degree waterbed her entire existence.
9 months, yeah.
And now it's 72 degrees. So we started doing the double swaddles and a hat, and then she immediately started to get more rest and adjust nicely. So that was Friday, and then we were ready for Saturday to roll right into her first appointment at the pediatrician. They had to see her the next day.
It's quick.
So Saturday morning, we're getting ready. We get showers. I had one shower the whole time we were in 4 days at the
you were
at the hospital. Oh my God. Yeah, the dogs knew I was home. So we get ready. We get her in the little car carrier, and Kelly goes, I got to put on my boots. And now she has been telling me all along through her pregnancy how she's bloated and her ankles are gone. And I keep telling her, oh, come on, no, because she hasn't been. Now, at some point, it might have been Friday night, I'm like, let me rub your feet, because I can tell she's got the compression stockings on and she's feeling all bloated. Her feet, I start to rub her feet and I'm like, her feet were twice as thick.
Wow.
Twice as thick as they have ever been.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, like at the arch, like that. Like,
yeah, you don't see it.
I was like, wow. They had pushed so much fluid into her, and then everything else her body's going through.
Sure.
So we're getting ready to leave, and she goes, and this was very close to a break for her.
Really?
Because she tried to put her feet in her boots, which are literally the biggest footwear she owns.
Right.
And she's like, I can't get my foot in my boots. How are we going to go to the I can't. And thank goodness, we talked about it on one episode that her friend Allison had sent her those Kiziks.
Yes.
She goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. She disappears. She comes back and she's like, we need to send something to Allison because of the Kiziks. She got her Kiziks on, and we went. We're going to this practice called Summerwood Pediatrics.
Summerwood, right up the road.
It's not. Yeah, it's right on Buckley Road.
Yeah, it's where my kids. That's where we go.
Oh, okay, it's adorable, right? It's all Disney stuff.
Disney and stuff.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Until they're 18 and 23, and they're like, Dad, I think we need to. What doctor do you go to? I go.
We go to the. We want to go to the other one. No, so we went. They did their exam. Everything was good. Like the provider that we talked to, Cheryl, I think.
They're good there.
Yeah, they seem really nice. They did a good job. And then we talked about it in the last episode. My sister and her husband both had COVID.
Yes.
So Avi got COVID.
Yep.
Then he's recovering. He finally tests negative, and then my sister gets it.
Yep.
Now she's got to wait. And basically what the pediatricians told us was 3 days after she gets a negative test, she's good. But we got to wait until then, right? So she's still testing positive when we come home. And she just wants to see the baby in person.
She hasn't even seen it, yeah.
So, and I don't know if you remember, that Saturday, again, we're back to winter, and it's like 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
28 degrees. It's freezing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, and the plan was, we told them we had the pediatrician appointment. I'm like, if you want to come over and look through the window in Kelly's office, we have these windows that face the driveway. And I'm like, you can come and we'll hold her up and you can sit. And of course,
the
my
old
sister's
COVID,
like,
the COVID birthdays and COVID. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, okay. So they come over, and it's like, and I warned her, I'm like, it's really cold, and the wind, like we're in the middle, the wind's coming.
Yeah,
through.
you got a lot of land and wind can go over.
But she came with her husband, and we
how cute.
And they got to see the baby on Saturday afternoon, and then
I could just see your sister now, just at the window, just kind of wanted to jump in.
It is
and hold the baby.
It's something that my sister in Texas, my brother in Tennessee, my mom and dad are long past.
Yeah.
But for my sister here, for both my sisters, they were teenagers when I was born. Yeah. So they're looking at this is somebody who they diapered. It's their baby.
This is an incredible time.
Yeah, this is a big thing.
It's an incredible time.
So it was very nice. It was nice to see that. I wish it could have been in person, but since then they have.
Oh, good.
So Saturday, Sunday, it was more, just trying to get as much rest as she could. And the baby, the baby was doing great. The Cradlewise thing is absolutely worth.
I saw that thing in action.
Every penny. This thing is amazing.
It is cool.
Once you figure it out and get the settings, and you play with it a little bit, and you find out what the baby responds to, you put the baby down, and as soon as it starts to stir, it starts to settle her down. It plays whatever sound you have set up. It does like a heartbeat sound that the baby responds to.
It's come such a long way, man.
That thing is.
Shout out to that company. Who makes it?
The company name is Cradlewise.
Cradlewise.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Shout out to not a sponsor yet.
Not a sponsor yet. No,
if they want to be,
worth every penny. And then it allows you. It logs all the data, so I can go back through now and see every day since we've been home
how it changes,
minute by minute, when she's sleeping, when she wakes up. You can see her sleep is starting to consolidate. She's sleeping more in the kind of the wee hours, the 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. time. So it helps you get into a rhythm.
Your own, yeah.
But so by Monday, feeling better. And then the very first people who got to see my little girl were Carlo and Trina.
That's right. Yours truly.
That's right. They came over Monday evening. They were our first visitors.
I was surprised because I thought people would come over, but I didn't realize the weather. Weather, and then your sister being sick. So I didn't think we were going to be the first, but when you told us, I'm like...
we liked that. It was awesome. We were very happy that you guys could come.
I'm telling you, just the first time we saw the baby, the little head, everything's perfect. Just beautiful little baby girl. And we were so...
It was a nice it was a nice visit. It was nice for us just to
show her off a little bit,
to have somebody see it, and also just to see you guys and talk. And it was funny because immediately we just paired off, right? So
we did.
Trina and Kelly are talking, and
we did
Carlo
a podcast.
Carlo and I were talking and catching up, and I was telling them a little bit.
Yeah, because you were telling the story and my wife and Kelly were in the other room looking at the baby and going through the story. So we didn't want to override each other's stories. So we were in separate rooms, so we weren't ruining the story for the other person.
Exactly. So
that was fun.
Yeah, no, it was great. And we got to pop the question of, would Carlo and Trina like to be the godparents for little baby Josie?
We did it.
And they accepted.
Of course.
So we're thrilled.
Can't wait.
We're thrilled about that.
Yes.
And also the thing that came up that was funny while it was Ash Wednesday. So the baby was born coincidentally. So on Ash Wednesday, but also, and I didn't know this because this is one of my grandparents that I never met. she was born on my maternal grandmother's birthday.
Yes.
Which is kind of a nice.
How cool that
is. That's very cool. So I at some point, Trina had texted me to tell me that you guys had gone to mass at our church, Sacred Heart, and had met our pastor that I've talked about
absolutely
many times, Father Seep, who's a great guy. We really love him.
Yep.
And find out that he is a fan of your work,
my work.
Yeah, which was good. So that kind of was that's what put you over the top.
Oh yeah, this is I'm like
okay,
I gotta come here. And he was trying to recruit. I like that. He was recruiting.
You know what I found? I found tonight, and I showed Kelly. I'm like, we got to give this to Father Seep.
Yeah,
I have kept an original. With the three of us, an original coffee mug.
Oh my God!
With all three of us on it, and so that can be my proof to Father that I was part of it. I was part of it in the beginning. And I think I have two. I'm going to keep one.
That's funny.
But I might give him one, just since he is a fan.
I still have a shirt. Do you still have the shirt I made you guys?
I think I still have.
Yeah, I think that's so funny. But so I went to the church, Sacred Heart. Shout out to Sacred Heart, and there was one of their most popular fish Friday dinners.
Yeah.
Have you gone to their fish dinners?
This past Friday, they have it set up, and you can do a drive-through.
Yes.
So you pull up, you give them your order, and it was great. And
what a great sandwich! Oh my, it was God! Good.
Yeah. They really, it was good. We'll definitely we'll be hitting it up on Fridays.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we said with our kids. So we got to actually go there, and we actually spent time with Father.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was. And then I thought he already knew about the podcast, so I kind of threw that in there, and he's like, oh, Frank does a podcast? And then he came back downstairs when we were eating. And he goes, I already signed up for the podcast. And
that's it.
So it was nice. So it'll be nice knowing that we now met him and talked to him, and we have something in common.
He sent a nice email. He said,
did he?
I just want to let you know, I met Carlo Russo, and he told me the good news and congratulations. So I sent a picture back with a picture of the baby back to him. But that was really nice. So we got to visit with you.
And thank Trina and I are just so excited and honored that you asked us. And I
have to ask this too. In my family, a lot of the Italian stuff is bastardized, or it's not the proper terminology. What would you call your godmother and godfather?
So we would call them. There's a name. Is it Kumbhara? Yeah.
That's
I was just trying to figure out.
But you see, but when you think of anybody who watches The Sopranos thinks that's a side piece.
Sidekick. Yeah.
Right. But so we would call
it's Kumara. It's your sponsor.
Kuma and Kumba.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what. So you're going to be
Kumbhara Carlo.
Kumba Carlo. So we were excited to ask them.
When you asked me that, because it's been used so many. Yeah. Like the soprano way. I'm like, wait a minute, what is it?
I think that is different, right? That's kumad.
Kumad, it's American. That's my kumad on the side.
I don't know. But
we don't want to know about that.
But for me, it was kuma and kumba.
Kumba, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we had that visit Monday night. It was nice. And what had happened Monday, I found out Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning, we're, the baby's sleeping. Kelly and I are still in bed. She cuddles up. And she's resting a little bit longer, and I can hear her breath. Her breathing is fast.
Yeah.
And I thought that's weird. And when she wakes up, we start talking, and she tells me that while she was talking with Trina, she noticed she was getting short of breath.
And I noticed that.
Yeah.
Talking to her.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, she's just had the baby and all this other stuff that you told me about. I really didn't question him. So when you told me that, it really hit home.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, because I didn't notice it.
Yep.
And I was going to say something, but I said, I better not.
That was no. So that was new. So, of course, I'm like, okay. So she says, well, I'm going to call, we'll call the doctor. Yeah. But I'm like, well, okay, just for the heck of it, get your blood pressure cuff. What's your blood pressure? Her blood pressure was good. Take her temperature, no fever. Okay. So let's see what they say. And when she calls and tells them this, they're immediately like, you can go to the emergency room or you can come to labor and delivery.
Wow.
And I'm okay. And so I think I was downstairs emptying the
water.
the dehumidifiers. And she's like, can we go? Oh, yep. So we get together, boom, boom, and back down to St. Joe's. And they bring us into, so there's a triage area as you enter the labor and delivery area where you come in. So if you're natural and they want to make sure you're ready to go, they put you in there. So we go in there and they start taking a look at her, and they take her blood pressure first thing, and her blood pressure. Now at home, the blood pressure cuff says 117/80. We
good.
get there less than 40 minutes later, it's 157/90 something.
Wow.
And so immediately I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking all those times that she was checking her blood pressure after she had that scare, and she was checking it at home and her blood pressure was normal, it's because that cuff's a piece of shit.
Oh.
Right? So immediately I'm like...
A default.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Faulty,
a defective. Yeah. So they do that. So they do her blood work. They're looking at stuff. And Dr. Rogers, again, the doctor who handled basically the whole delivery, says, well, look, we know you had some of the hypertension before.
Sure.
They basically say, yeah, no, you had a odd presentation of preeclampsia. So she had mild preeclampsia. And then when she's saying that, because every time they brought it up beforehand, I kept saying she's only had 2 readings.
Right, because you're thinking, yeah.
Because she's only had 2 readings that were high. Well, they were the 2 readings that weren't with that cuff.
Right.
Right. So that
was probably always.
It was probably always high, which would have changed things.
Sure.
Right. So thank goodness there wasn't anything. But they said, all your numbers are headed in the right direction. But the only thing we're worried about is your blood pressure's a little high. They also said what you're experiencing with the shortness of breath, because her blood oxygen levels were great.
Okay.
But what they said was what had happened over the course of the day Monday, and it was obvious. Like I actually mentioned it to her right before you guys came over. It was her milk came in. So
you told me
that weight on her chest is many women have this feeling of heaviness that translates to labored breathing. So we think it's a combination of that and the blood pressure. So they're like, we're going to put you on the lowest dose of this blood pressure medication. There's no lower than this. We're going to put you on that and see. And if in 2 hours your blood pressure comes down, we'll release you. You're good. So they tested her in an hour. Blood pressure was normal. Second hour, still good, and we got sent out. But so we were there for about 4 hours, and again, the difference like night and day.
And you had the baby with you at all?
The baby was with us, and she was fine. While we were there, I'm kind of glad. I would have rather not have her be frightened and having trouble breathing.
Sure.
But while we were there, we got to see the lactation consultant again. She came in. Kelly nursed in front of the lactation consultant, gave her a bunch of good tips.
That's awesome.
And so that was super helpful. We got to see Courtney. I got to tell her about the podcast. I got to tell her.
That's how we do it, people.
I'm going to talk about how wonderful you were. So please listen.
Please keep listening.
Yeah. And keep listening if you're interested. But if nothing else, just to hear how much we think of you. So that was great. We got to see them. And
have you felt like you've been on a roller coaster?
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of things went away.
Because I feel like I've been at it as you're telling me this stuff, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, there have been. But at some point, when I had that bad moment that Thursday morning when we were still there, from then on, when we go to the doctors, we've been to the doctors a bunch of times. We went back up there. The panic
is not there.
That is gone.
Okay.
I know. I feel like there was a switch that the last thing God wants is for me to be afraid.
Yeah.
Right? That's the last thing. And if I allow myself to be afraid, it's the wrong thing. It's just right. So
you letting the devil in.
That's exactly.
That is
exactly it.
Yeah. Fear is the devil.
That 100%. So I haven't had to deal with that. It's been great. Yeah. There have been ups and downs and challenges, but because there's been a lot of things we haven't even got to some of the hardest moment kind of came after this because we had because we had to go to back to labor and delivery, we were supposed to that morning be going to the pediatrician.
Gotcha.
For a 3-day follow-up, and we couldn't.
Right.
So we were supposed to do that the next day. But while we were there, I think it was a good thing that we went. They addressed the issue. They got her on the blood pressure meds. On the way home, stopped, picked up her meds, got her home. But the other piece of it too is my wife wants everything to go perfectly, wants to do everything she can. And if it was keeping the baby happy and relaxed, she was holding her, not putting her down, letting her stay on her breast rather than, and she wasn't getting enough rest. She was ignoring her own stuff, her own needs, right? Then Tuesday morning, got home better, but still struggling. The breathing, not easy. And Wednesday morning, we're supposed to go to the pediatrician because we rescheduled.
The makeup, yep.
And I wake up and she's in bed. She's not using the nursing pillow. She's got the baby. And I'm looking at her and she is, you know how when you're exhausted and you're hurting and she's just
you can tell that's
shoulders rounded.
Yeah.
Kind of hunched forward. I can see it in her face. She's struggling, and I'm like, you know, have you eaten? No. Have you had enough to drink? No. And she's also at that point where, because she's at her limit, she doesn't want to hear anything from me.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and we're going to do it.
Right.
And I said, the first thing is, you can't sit like this.
Right.
Right. She's like, I'm like, look, if I hunch over like that, like you're sitting right now, as much as I know it feels good to you right now, you're making it harder for yourself to breathe. When you're nursing and you're not using my best friend, you're hunched over everything. I'm like, you gotta
straighten
open
out.
yourself
Yeah, you gotta
up.
open it up.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get this. Here, eat this. I don't want eat it. Kind of had to really kind of be a little bit more firm.
Put your foot down, yeah.
But
for the right
got
reason.
her head in the right direction. Try the pillow. Well, but I can't with it. Try it. Gets her in a position. It changes her posture. The breath starts low. Start breathing with her. Coaching her through some belly breathing. Trying to just slow it down. And I'm pointing out to her, look, I know you can breathe at a slower rate because when you fall asleep, you do. Right. I'm like, just try and calm down, try and get it to settle out. So we got her to settle down, and then tried to be much more on point of, I can't just be occupied with getting her rest. I've got to try to be more supportive of, hey, did you take your meds? Did you take your medicine? When was the last time you ate something?
Right.
Because she, left to her own devices, was going from dinner at 6:00 and then up all night feeding the baby not eating.
Nothing, right. Yeah, you got to be the eyes and ears and
at least until she's starting to get more clear-headed.
Right.
The good part was that we made it to our pediatrician appointment, and again, they weighed her. At that point, she's at, when we were at the hospital, we had them weigh her, and she was 5 pounds, 5 ounces.
Right.
So she had gone from 6 pounds 1 to 5 pounds 5. The next day when we go in, so this is last Wednesday, she's 5 pounds, 8.5 ounces.
Okay.
So she had picked up some, which was good. All the feeding stuff is going the right way. And there's all this, for a while there, we were getting wet diapers, but we weren't getting poopy diapers. Okay. Then that started happening very regularly. So that's all good. That's been happening all good. But we get there and then they're like, oh, we have a lactation consultant here. Would you like to talk to her? And that's one thing that I think both of us are like, no matter how much reading, no matter how informed we are, we're like, yup.
One-on-one,
anybody who wants to talk to us about stuff, let's listen. Kelly's the same way. She's like, yep, let's do that. So we talk, this woman, awesome, been doing this for decades, and starts asking, and she's looking at her, and she can tell now, Kelly did not look great for this appointment. She was exhausted.
Yeah.
She's
been through it.
So she's like, so let's talk about biomechanics. Your posture. She starts talking to her about all the stuff that we were talking about, and Kelly smiles and looks at me.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you using a boppy or a breastfeeding pillow? Well, I wasn't, but I have started. She's like, very important. Just thank goodness, reinforced all of that
everything
stuff.
you were trying. Yeah.
And so then from then on, straight line improvement.
Good.
With all that stuff. So that was Wednesday. Then we had a follow-up Friday with her OBGYN, checked her blood pressure, talked to her. Things are headed in the right direction. She's got another follow-up in a week. They're keeping her on they said the blood pressure medication, probably on it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But we did that. And then the other big nice thing, so Sunday finally was the first opportunity for my sister Paula and her husband to come over.
Nice.
So they brought us dinner from Sapporo de Antonio. Of course, this whole time, both my sisters and Kelly's sister and our and sister-in-law all have access to the Cradlewise app, so they can log in.
Oh, really?
And whenever they get a notification, whenever we put the baby down, they get a notification, they can log in and they can watch her. They can see her.
Wow. Oh, there's monitors. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a webcam in the thing.
Oh my God.
So
how that has changed.
They're constantly watching.
Yeah. They see the baby sleeping.
So she's seeing her all the time. But she got to meet her in person and hold her. So that was nice. We had a visit with them on Sunday. And then finally yesterday was just continuing to kind of get into a normal routine. It's going well. And then today we went back for a meeting with the lactation consultant at the pediatrician and weighed in. She is now 6 pounds, 3.5 ounces. So she has gained back to birth weight plus 2.5 ounces.
2.5, yeah.
And then we came home and she pooped 4 or 5 ounces. So we may be back behind the 8 ball again. But it's all been good. So we're at the point now. Kelly looks so much better.
Yeah,
she's feeling better. We're getting outside. Yeah, we're going to get outside after we record, take a little walk and get the baby out there. It has been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But I feel incredibly blessed. I feel younger than I ever did.
That's awesome.
I do.
It does. Kids keep you, they have to. You have to be mentally 20-something years old.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's true.
Honestly, I have to say I don't want to jinx myself or Kelly, but this has been easier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's like right now
you're in a good phase of timing.
Yeah, it's gonna.
And everything changes.
They're gonna be changes coming.
Doesn't, but
yeah, well, things change, right? Things are gonna change.
Exactly.
But yeah,
but that doesn't mean it's gonna be bad.
No, but the experience generally, it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And that isn't to say, look, I am intimately aware that we have every conceivable advantage.
Yeah.
Right? We have everything we could possibly need. We're both home. We have time off from work. We are incredibly blessed when it comes to that. And it's still not easy.
I know.
Right? It's still not easy. Now, I was teasing Kelly earlier. Like, it is a point of pride for me. She has not washed a dish, cooked a meal, or done a load of laundry since.
Yeah, you're on it. You're like, don't even.
I want to make it. I want that kid to turn 5 before she has to do that. Right? Like,
especially what she's been through. Jeez.
Yes. With that being said, I do have to say, number one, the paradigm shift outside of there is this little human that is incredible and there's so much joy. There's also this realization that any woman, I have so much respect for any woman who has faced this. Like, it's one thing, you're in a relationship and there are a lot of people who, look, the guy's got to go back to work, right? He can't be here.
Yep. Most of the time.
There is a special place in hell for any man who allows a woman who has the means to do what I'm doing or anything close to it, to help a woman through this experience and doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
There's just, I don't, that is, I can't even conceive
the idea of not seeing my child.
Yeah.
I would do anything.
Yeah.
For that baby and that woman that.
Yeah.
Did,
that gave you this
gift.
That
gave me that gift.
Yeah.
And to have these men that walk out.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I'm sure people have their demons, and because that's what it is. It's got to be. That's the only way. It's got to be a demon.
Ultimately, they're the ones
losing.
They're the ones losing.
Absolutely.
But even so, that suffering is not enough.
The single mother.
A single mother. I can't even imagine. Even if you have a family around you that is supportive, for Kelly right now, I know what I'm doing. It's not enough, but I know what I'm doing. And if she didn't have that, I don't know what.
Oh my God!
I don't know what it would be like. So listen, God bless any single mother that has been through this and has just survived. I can't tell you how much respect I have for them.
No, it's you realize all this when you have your child.
Yeah.
That
you're always like, that must be hard.
Right, it's gotta be hard. Right.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
that's not. Yeah.
We're all smart. We can figure out.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard. But when you're in it, and then you separate your portion of that and go, oh man, there's people that do this without me.
Yeah.
In the picture.
Yeah. And with all kinds
and succeed
with all kinds of other challenges
and succeed.
Yeah, and
that's a strong.
That is that's
person.
That's a special.
Yeah.
A special thing, but but otherwise, this like
have you heard the word daddy?
Yeah.
Your sister calling you daddy, or your wife calling you daddy, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm daddy.
Honestly, so I already kind of have a shtick, which is whenever I pick little Josie up, I look right, and as soon as I get the eye contact, I go, hello, I'm daddy. I'm the favorite. So I hear daddy a lot.
That's funny. I thought you were going to go, hi, I'm Frank Cereal. I'm 55 years old. I'm your father.
Surprisingly, and now I can pretty consistently get a little smile when I get that. No, somebody occasionally that will.
When you hear that from your child.
When I hear it from her, I know I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it.
It's the best.
Just seeing her when I know she's looking at me.
No, yeah.
When she is like, you get that right distance, you get the distance right.
Oh, they can see it,
and she's like, oh, there you are. And this morning, I haven't like, when Kelly was getting ready to take a shower, so we were going to go to the pediatrician, and I'm like, and I tell Google to turn on Louis Prima, and I'm just dancing around the kitchen and singing these goofy songs. Yeah. And she's loving it. And then Ella Fitzgerald comes on, and Ella Fitzgerald singing Paper Moon, and she's all into it, and I'm singing a lot. Oh, just thinking about all those experiences and all those things that she has to look forward to, and watching the reactions. It's
going to be the best. It's like there's no TV that can beat it. There's no episode of anything to watch for hours. Like when we came over. Do you guys just sit here and watch it for hours? We could. Yeah. It's easy enough to do because you're just fascinated in every little curve and motion and hands and oh my God. And it's a blessing. I'm so glad that we're at this point. We started this podcast. A quick question was given to me. Hey, want to do this? And I never thought, wow, we're going to really go through it. And then the baby and all the experience. And it's so cool to have this on audio and video.
Oh, yeah.
To look through, it's a great thing to have.
Yeah.
It's like a little gift. I mean, maybe someday you can go, hey, listen, this is what we did when we knew we were going to have you, and we created this thing. And that says a lot.
That was one of the other things that happened Sunday. So the other day, very generously, Kelly's brother and his wife gave us a photo shoot. So we had the photographer come out.
Yeah, he told me,
and he's like, well, what do you want to do? And do you have anything you want me to shoot with her? And I'm like, we got to get Mickey. Because one of the things that we did when we decided really like we're going to really try was we were on a cruise last February.
Okay.
And you know, the cruise, when you're at sea days, the gift shops are open. It's all this Disney stuff.
Yep.
And there's all these little, and I'm like, I think we should why don't we get his or her first Mickey. And Kelly was like, well, you know, if we do that, and how are you going to feel when, like, basically, because we didn't know.
Because you didn't know. Okay. I was just going to say, this is obviously a year ago, so you had no idea.
No. Yeah. This was this was.
So she didn't want to disappoint.
It's like, you know, there's a lot invested there. And I'm like, no,
I can handle it.
Yeah, I think we should. So we had it's a little baby Mickey in a swaddle. And we've had it since. And I'm like, get Mickey.
Yeah.
And he took some pictures.
Isn't that crazy? You bought it. You bought this thing.
Yeah.
You didn't know if you were going to be parents. You didn't know there's no face. Nope. And now you're taking a picture with the baby in this thing.
Yep.
How a year plus some change.
Yeah.
Everything.
You're a completely different world.
Yeah.
Completely different world, completely different experience and attitude toward life. And I got to add that to the check, please, because I forgot. That's right. Those things are not cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I talk about whenever we do that update since the baby, like the first day, I'm like, we need knuckers.
10 grand.
I'm on Amazon ordering like the top 5. We have just been banging out. Like it's been crazy.
It doesn't stop because I just yesterday I went to our second son's college introduction dinner.
Yep.
So that bill keeps going and going and going.
It's all money well.
This is all good, man.
All money well spent. No, it's been absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be more excited. I do think it's going to be fun as we get into this because we are learning a lot. Yeah. We're finding these products that are incredibly helpful.
We're gonna have fun.
We're gonna have a good time.
And me and you were talking about how this changes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, up to this point, we were talking about the come up, week 17, week 18. Yep. Now it's here, so we want to make it into a point where we want to make it interesting still, obviously, for everybody to listen. And there'll be different little avenues we can go down.
Yes.
For the podcast.
So, I think there's going to be tons of stuff. There's so much for us to learn.
Yeah.
And we already are little tips and tricks and fun things that have been helpful already. And it's been awesome.
Been the changing of phases of what the baby goes through.
Yeah.
Because, I hope to God the sleeping continues.
Yeah.
Because that's very important.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Everything rolls so much better when everybody's rested.
It
does.
All these people, the lactation consultant, we were talking to her today, and she's like laying out, so, you got to wait. She's asking us about our return to work schedule and how that works and coaching us through, look, in 4 weeks, at 4 weeks, you're going to want to start pumping, saving milk. Because right now, she hasn't had to give any formula. It's all been breast milk.
The longer you can do it, the better.
And she's going to go as long. But what she's recommending, which I think is a great idea, these women, they go back to work and they've never fed from a bottle. So they think they're just going to start giving her a bottle. The baby doesn't want the bottle.
Yeah, they don't know.
So what she's telling us is at 4 weeks, she starts pumping. And then once a day, I give a bottle.
I remember doing that.
Train it so they get used to so that when she is going back to work,
it's not a
thing.
Alien. Yeah.
Right. So there's all these little things that they're doing great with, and helping us to set her up. Already talking about get her into a routine of bedtime and a specific time and a specific set of actions that lead up to bedtime, because it just all that stuff structure. This is where my tendency to want things to be structured and organized will be good, I'm sure. But
your spreadsheet will be out there.
No, already. Oh, that Huckleberry app.
Yeah.
That thing is
the one you were talking about.
Indispensable. It tracks everything. Every time Kelly feeds, it's like start to stopwatch. It times how long she's on each breast.
That's awesome.
When she's going to bed, the Cradlewise app tracks all the sleep for us. It is a data-rich environment.
Oh, yeah. Reports come. Put that on my office. Get that on my desk. I need that.
That's it. But
so my question to you is,
yes,
when will the baby be going to the first Mass?
You know, it's interesting. I have been all about let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's no right or wrong answer.
Kelly has no. Kelly has said we were going to probably wait a little bit longer, but our friends Perry and Yahida, they're in Texas. Their baby came just a few days before ours.
I remember you telling us. Yep.
And they went to Mass Sunday.
Okay.
And that seemed to open the door. Kelly's like, well, maybe we can.
Okay.
So we got to, we were saying when we were on our way home from the appointment today, I'm like, we got to go to confession because we missed Ash Wednesday. We missed Mass twice. But yeah, I would like it to be this Sunday when we get back. Yeah, it'll be great. I'm looking forward to that. But no, it's just been awesome. I'm excited to continue with this.
Yeah, no,
it's the fun of doing this with you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I look forward to this all the time. I talk about it all the time. I actually I think I've taken more pictures with our merch when I do my other job than I do with my normal jobs merch.
That's okay.
Because not because it's a proud thing to do. It's we're talking about family, and we're talking about religion. We're talking about, being a good person and being a good father and wanting more than, maybe we got out of our own father. And that's not a bad thing. No. It's just that, whatever they gave us for as much as they could.
Yeah.
And we know better now, and we can afford a lot more than they could have. My parents had no money, and I'm sure we all were in the same under middle class families or less than that sometimes. So this is very important to me. This project that we're doing, this podcast, and I would love to see how far we can take it.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be great. There's something new every day.
Yeah,
and it's going to be fun. And there's just so many. Just in the next few months, we got. I said to Kelly, I got an email for work, and it was the how the Easter Bunny is going to be at the mall. I'm like, the Easter Bunny is there in 2 days. And it's just like, I think we can skip it this time.
Can you imagine next Christmas?
Oh my God! No, I can't.
Oh,
I will say also, I've been getting pushed a lot. I think because of the already having booked the cruise.
Oh yeah.
And that stuff, and having talked with many people about the baby races, I'm already getting pushed all this stuff about like how to train your kid.
I forgot the track. The racetrack has to be built in the backyard.
That's it. Well, the first thing is going to be. I already saw they recommend you get a balance beam.
Oh my God.
You make a balance beam.
It's hilarious.
There's also they do a ramp. So it like the kids kind of sliding forward, so they learn to army crawl first.
Of course,
that will be
baby Josie
one of the top of my list of projects. She's going to be a track star, but no, I can't wait.
He might actually film the stuff like a Rocky background, like in training.
Absolutely, that's it. That'll be it. It's going to be fantastic.
Obviously, we'd have to cover the face.
We'll have to. Yes.
You have to do the face cover. We don't want any photos out there of lovely Josie.
No, we have not done that.
Yeah.
But we didn't do any of our usual segments.
Right. Well, this is a special one.
Catch-up stuff.
This was the first episode with the baby in the house.
That's right. So she's upstairs. I don't know why I'm still talking to you, because I could be up there with her.
That's right. You could be looking at her.
Yeah, I could be looking at her going, look,
sleeping.
Is this gas, or does she really like me?
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking yourself out of the baby's room for an hour to talk and play with me.
I was excited that we got to the point where I'm like, okay, I've been kind of back on my rhythm with work, email, just keeping up on things and the like normal house stuff. So I felt like, we can fit this in. It'll be nice. But we are going to. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna put her in the stroller and take her for a little walk.
Yeah, it's over 50 degrees today.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Sunny, nice. So we're gonna do that. But thank you for sticking with us for another episode. There is more baby Josie excitement to come.
Can't wait.
And we'll have a great time. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, folks, that's another episode of the Gray Hair and Daycare podcast in the books. Thanks very much for tuning in and spending this time with us. We hope it was fun. If you enjoyed this week's descent into the madness of dadness, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of our future adventures. And while you're at it, give us a like and share the cast with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Carrier Pigeon, whatever you crazy kids are using. Have any hilarious parenting stories of your own? Questions about navigating fatherhood later in life, or even when normal people do it? Email us at ghdc.podcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to bed.